What's up you guys, Sasha here, and today I want to cover something very topical. I want to tell you why I have no intention of going back to working in an office, in the office that I used to work at. I'm going to tell you the massive benefits of not working in the office and why you can be considerably more productive and get a lot more work done by not doing the exact same thing you used to do. At the end of the video, I'm going to talk to you about a very different way that you can go and arrange your working life that will be super efficient. So stay tuned, let's get right into it. First, the biggest reason why I think it's a really bad idea to go back to regular working in the office environment that we all used to do before is time. It is just the biggest waste of time that humans have invented for themselves. This principle of you have to leave the place you live and move to a different place where you go and do your work and spend that amount of time and then the same amount of time to come back just to be able to get paid for the hours that you're sitting in an office and working. Now, it might seem like that's a minor thing, but for a lot of people it really isn't. For years and years I've been a commuter. I live outside London, I have an office right in the middle of London, and the way I get to work is this. I leave the house, I get into the car, I drive to the train station car park, I then walk from the car park to the actual train station. I then have to go and wait for the next train. I then sit on the train for about 35 minutes or thereabouts. I then have to get off the train and walk or use public transport to get from the train station to my office. And for me, I'm relatively lucky. That whole process can take me as little as an hour. Sometimes it takes me an hour and a half each way. And I'm one of hundreds of thousands, no, probably millions of people who are doing this every single day. You might be driving 45 minutes, you might be doing any other way of getting to the office, but that time is generally a considerably huge waste. Even if it's just half an hour, that's 1 hour every single day that you're just throwing away. You're not productive. I know you can tell yourself you're productive because you listen to podcasts. The truth is, you're not productive. You're not actually enjoying it. You're just there like a sardine wedged in between a load of other people on the tube or on the bus or on the tram or whatever it is that you like to wedge yourself into. It's just a complete waste of time. So that's a massive, massive reason. Even from a work perspective, you can be spending that time working if you don't have anything better to do with your time. And you will get so much more done by just being able to focus on doing the work instead of getting to the place where you can then focus on work instead. The second big reason is money. The amount of money that people waste on just traveling from one place where they could be working to a different place where they actually would be working is colossal. Whether you're paying for petrol every single day, whether you're buying train tickets, whether you're buying season tickets for the tube, whether you're buying season tickets for anything else, whatever you decide to waste your money on, it's just a huge waste of money for the privilege of just being able to get to and from an office. It doesn't actually produce anything. It doesn't improve anything. You're paying for the privilege of being able to waste your life sitting on that bus. And instead, you could choose not to waste that massive amount of money, not sit on the bus, and not have to travel to that office just because somebody decided that it's a good idea. The third really good reason why I think it's a bad idea to go back to always working in office is distractions. Now I get it, sometimes it's good to get out of being focused on something and have some kind of way of getting your mind relaxed and getting your mind thinking about other things. But when you're in a busy office environment, so often somebody will just ask you a question, somebody will get you distracted from whatever it is that you're doing, and then it takes you so much longer to do it because not only are you being distracted for that period of time, but you then have to spend another 10-20 minutes just remembering where you were, what it was that you were doing, where exactly did you get to, trying to remember things that you've forgotten about what you were going to be doing. Then there's just random chatter and banter, and you want to be sociable, so you participate, and then suddenly you're not focusing on what you're doing. Then there's lunch. Hey, do you want to go for a drink? Do you want to go and have a coffee? And I get it, being social is great. I think it's great to go and speak to people, spend time with people, but for those who argue that being in an office is more productive, I just say in many cases that simply isn't the case. Now I get it, many people just can't work from home or not be in an office because people who work in logistics, people who work in certain industries, people who work in a shop, people who work in many of these types of places physically have to be there in order to be able to do their work. But for so many other people, it's just not necessary to go and have to travel to be in the same working environment as everybody else who does the same job for no particular reason, even if you don't actually interact or have anything to do with the people sitting at the desk next to you. A massive issue here is the element of trust. A lot of employers just simply don't trust the people who aren't physically in the same location as them to go and do the work they're being paid to do. And there's better ways to be able to motivate people, get them to do better work, monitor the work they're doing, and then standing over their shoulder and making sure they're doing it because you're looking at them. Now, the big argument that I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I think a lot of people are going to have here is, well, I don't want to work from home, or I can't work from home. I don't want to mix my personal life and my work life. It's really difficult because I have a family, I have kids, I have my wife, husband, whatever, people who are also in the household, and it's very difficult for me to be able to focus. I get disrupted all the time because people are running around, whatever it is. I get it. I agree with it. It's actually good to separate your work life from your personal life as much as possible so that you can make the most out of each of those components rather than have a part working life where you get distracted by life and your life constantly being distracted by your work. Now, a lot of people might not be lucky enough to have a room in their house that they can dedicate to be an office, set it up with computer screens and laptops and whatever it is that they need. I get it. That's a genuine concern. But is there a middle ground which is a lot better than the way that people used to work, which might work better? Is there a local place you can work? Is there a small local office you can rent? Any space which can be your own, which can be quiet, where you're able to go and focus on the thing you're doing without having to spend a huge amount of time, a huge amount of money going to this big central location where thousands of people all get to sit together? If that is something that generally is feasible, why aren't people doing that a lot more? Why isn't this the standard practice? If you're a firm that has tens of thousands of employees in those types of roles which don't physically have to be present in the same building, why don't you build loads of small satellite environments? They don't have to be fancy, they don't have to be expensive. You don't have to be in one of the WeWork offices or something else that costs you a huge amount every single month. They can be really unfashionable, somewhere out of town, in a small little business park, whatever it is, somewhere where people will take 5 to 10 minutes to get there from their house, have their own desk to work at so that they can focus and work a lot better. Who knows, maybe this is the direction that people are actually going to go in. If you're working for a company that is changing the way they're working, or a company that is going to a more distributed model, please make sure you leave a comment so that we can discuss. If your employer is telling you that you should go right back to working in exactly the same way, whether it's necessary or not, make sure you leave a comment as well. It'd be really interesting to have a discussion on this. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a like for the YouTube algorithm. It is super important and super useful for a small channel like ours to be able to grow and reach more people more quickly. If you're interested in videos about making more money and being better with personal finance, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That's exactly what I talk about on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Hit the bell so you get notifications every time one of my videos comes out. I'll see you guys later.